Hey y'all. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late, but we're going to get going here and talk about this. This won't be a super long one. What are you doing? I've got visitors, of course. So let's play the intro and then we'll get this going. All right, y'all. Well, some of us, I shouldn't say we, I have been waiting on this to drop. And it actually came out last Friday. But as you know, I've been a little busy. So we're going to get going here. Oh, I guess I could turn my camera on. It's just me. I'm just sitting here. Okay. I probably won't keep my camera on though because I'm really fidgety today. It's hard to sit in one spot still. So, hey, Revival, you're the only one that's commented yet. So, all the lurker loos are here. Hey, Emery, how are you? You can always count on the people that hate you the most to be the first people into your live stream. That's usually how this works. But this is pretty good news coming out of Utah. But I have a lot of questions in regards to this. I'm not very thrilled about some of it, but we're going to talk about it. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. Hey, Tracy. Hey. Oh, no. Well, the other people that are always in here, the weird ones that watch everything I do, even though we don't do any type of content the same way. I won't get off on that tangent. I'll give you guys an update on all of that crap on the other channel someday soon. This is important. So, as you guys know, Sean Reyes, the Attorney General out of Utah, was only put into position because the previous Utah Attorney General was facing corruption and other accusations in 2013. So Sean Reyes took office in 2013, shortly after OUR was founded by Tim Ballard and crew. He has been Tim Ballard's bulldog, and a lot of things have been let slide under his watch and also others. So I find this a little bit of a little too late to apologize, I guess would be kind of the thing. But I guess we're headed in some. I know, I love you too. I'm just giving you guys shit. It's always just those weird couple that like they can't stand anything you do, but they watch everything and then they mimic everything you do. And then they try to, anyways, you guys know what I mean. All right. Hey, Mark, you guys, I'm not even going to tell you how my day's been. Let's just say Waymoo with no driver sounds really good about right now. All right, let's go. Let's watch this. Let's watch what's important here. And that's not me bitching about anything. Okay. Here we go.
An honor for me. That is why
Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes has announced he will not be seeking re-election. Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow is live on Capitol Hill with more on the announcement. Ben, what have you learned?
Well, in a video that was just posted online, the Attorney General announced that he will not seek re-election and that he believes the accusers of Operation Underground Railroad founder Tim Ballard.
Okay, so I am gonna cut this and give some background, because just for those of you that don't, in fact, I'm gonna pull up an article that's got a timeline. We'll just do that. Because they skip a lot of important details in this, and I find it really important to understand how this all went down. Because it's not like he just all of a sudden overnight decided he's not going to run for re-election. He has been, hold on, let me put this in just a moment. Let me find the article. Sorry, give me one moment. Because I find this to be actually kind of sickening, the way it's being skirted over here a little bit. Because it's a lot deeper than what they're trying to claim it is. It's a lot bigger issue. And I'm not too pleased. So give me 1 second. Where did it go? I don't know if he has it on his page or not. Probably not. Okay. I'll do that while I play this. Okay. Background though, a little bit. November 27th. So there has been lawsuits that have been coming out. Sean Reyes was named in some of those previous lawsuits. He had been listed not as a defendant. He had just been named in the lawsuits that he was Utah's top law enforcement official, best friends with Tim Ballard, was on some of these ops with Tim Ballard, so on and so forth. November 27th, a lawsuit dropped that named Sean Reyes as a defendant in the lawsuit. That is the first lawsuit that he was named as a defendant, not just mentioned in the lawsuit. That had pretty hefty allegations. We have not even gone through the exhibits yet. That happened November 27th. This happened December 8th, 4 days ago, that he announced he's not running for re-election. Kind of a little bit suspicious, if you ask me.
Play back a little of that video right now.
Serving the people of Utah has truly been a dream and honor for me. That is why I have very mixed emotions about my announcement today that I will not seek a fourth term in office.
Now, the Attorney General has faced scrutiny lately over his ties to Ballard, who is facing accusations of sexual assault. The Attorney General was even named in a civil lawsuit over his relationship with Ballard, accusing Reyes of trying to intimidate an OUR critic. The Utah State Legislative leadership voted unanimously last month to request an audit into Reyes' travel and whether state resources had been used for OUR or for the Sound of Freedom movie. Now, on this video, and this is something you really want to pay attention to, Reyes announced that he did meet with Ballard's accusers and that he believes them.
Over the course of multiple days, I sat with these women and one man, all with their attorneys present. After hearing their stories in person, I believe them.
So it took him hearing the stories in person. Meanwhile, this has not been new allegations. Again, I need to remind you that these allegations have been circling for over 3 years. This isn't the first time that this came out. This is far from the first time Sean Reyes, you dumb prick, in my opinion, knew about these allegations. It took him being named in a lawsuit alongside his bestie, Tim Ballard, and OUR, Operation Underground Railroad, to come out and actually take the time to sit with these people. Now, mind you, let's not overlook the fact that he was also a part of emails back and forth when they tried threatening and silencing Davis County Attorney Troy Rawlings when he was doing an investigation into OUR and Tim Ballard and the alleged fraud that had been going on. Sean Reyes, his hands aren't clean. And just because you sat face to face with the victims, now you're running ducktail. First of all, 2024 November, he shouldn't get to sit in that office up until then, in my opinion. He has done nothing but manipulate and lie to the people of Utah. over and over and over again. And as a former Utah resident, I can say that with all of my chest and say, Sean, it's time you get out of office now. There is also an investigation that is being kicked into gear about his wrongdoings in office. But you don't have to take my word for it. Let's just continue to watch.
And I'm heartbroken for what they've endured and the trauma that they will face their entire lives. I apologized to each of them that my past friendship with Tim Ballard and strong association with OUR contributed to an environment that made them feel powerless and without a voice to fight back for many years.
My past relationship, so you just become not besties overnight? Oh, wait, you got named in a lawsuit November 27th, December 8th. You're like, yeah, time to put my political endeavors ahead of everybody else. Now, also, mind you, he was going to run for Senate. We saw that in the last statements that were given in the lawsuit. They were talking about that, which we are going to go through all those exhibits still because there's a lot in those exhibits. But this isn't just overnight that he decided to have a change of heart.
I cannot give them back those voiceless years, but I intend on spending my last year in office working together with these survivors and any others who come forward so that their voices are heard and they have access to resources and support. I will work to integrate them into a task force or create one so they have a safe way to support survivors and prevent what happened to them from occurring to others.
What about all the others that haven't even came forward yet in all the other countries, Sean? What about the 2 OUR volunteers that were murdered? You want to talk about any of that? You want to talk about a task force to make yourself look good again, in my opinion. But do you really actually even understand what you have allowed in your 10 years as AG? Why don't you write a rap about it? I would love to hear an exit rap. Like I said in my comment earlier today, you could include some bye, 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 and a little bit of smooth criminal, if you ask me. I think that would go perfect in your exit rap, which I don't think should be November of 2024. I think it should be right now. You should be getting booted out of that seat. You have no business being anything in Utah that's of any governing authority over anybody. This is saving face, PR stunt at its finest, in my opinion.
Separate from my own work with them, they have now contacted the Utah Attorney General's office, or AGO, to request a criminal investigation into their claims. I am now recused, meaning I will have no involvement, but my office will conduct a statewide investigation of Tim Ballard, Operation Underground Railroad, the Spear Fund, or others to determine what criminal conduct occurred, if any, relating to the complaints made.
I thought the Utah AG's office was conflicted out. Oh, wait, that was before Sean was actually named as a defendant in a lawsuit. Before he was conflicted out, the AG's office was conflicted out. They couldn't touch this. Magically, times have changed since he got named in a lawsuit. Are you joking right now? If anybody is still promoting the sound of freedom and that rhetoric and the propaganda, the extremist QAnon propaganda and self-serving bullshit, y'all need your heads screwed on straight because this is so freaking gross. And it took him, again, he did not come out in defense of the victims. In fact, he did completely the opposite. He has done nothing to help these victims of Tim Ballard for over 10 years. That this man sat in office and lied to everybody. His dad, going back a little bit, was an MLM pusher himself of colloidal silver. Imagine that. Sean is a really good, once again, in my opinion, PR talker. He talks a good game, but there is zero follow-up. And he sure seems to overlook all of the stuff that he's been involved in with his buddy Tim Ballard and former apostle Russell M. Ballard of the Church of Latter-day Saints, who is now deceased. But they used all of those relationships to silence the victims. Sean has done nothing to protect these victims or any victims. of OUR and Tim Ballard. Oh, and Sean Reyes too. They're victims of yours too, Sean.
Now, the existence of an investigation is not itself a determination of guilt.
Obviously, reaction coming in right now here on Capitol Hill. The Senate president texted me saying, we will work with the Attorney General and his office as he finishes his term to ensure a smooth transition. The Utah Democratic Party just released a statement calling on the Attorney General to just go ahead and resign from office.
He needs to. I agree.
We'll be pursuing a lot more and bring you more coming up on Fox 13 News at 9. Live on the Hill, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Ben, thank you so much for your reporting. Now, with Reyes not seeking re-election, who could be running to replace him? Former Utah Republican Party Chair Derek Brown has formed an exploratory committee for a run. But there is also talk on Utah's Capitol Hill that Riverton Senator Dan McKay might jump in. Utah Solicitor General Melissa Holyoke's name has been floated in the past. She serves under Reyes, arguing civil cases for the state. Spanish Fork Senator Mike McKell, who has floated the idea of making the Attorney General a position appointed by the governor instead of elected, told Fox 13 News today he's definitely not running.
Isn't this interesting how it's almost a repeat, verbatim repeat of what happened in 2013 when he actually was booted? He should be resigning. So it's being tossed around that he's actually resigning, and some say he's not running for a re-election. It's a little tricky. There's a little bit back and forth with that. If you see this article here, it says resignation, that he's resigning. And then some of the other ones are saying that he's just not running for re-election. I think it's a little bit of pressure coming down from up above. I think he will be booted out of office. I really hope. He has no business being in office at this point in time. He should be. Well, here, let's get into it. Let me explain a little bit further because there's an investigation going on right now too. So this is Fox 13 again, but this is a breakdown and a timeline. So this is by Adam Herbert, who follows all of this stuff. So Friday's announcement by Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes that he would resign his seat in November, not running for re-election, came after years of reporting by Fox 13 Investigates team into Reyes' ties with Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad. I have to take a step back here because I'm going to give credit where credit is due. If it wasn't for people like Lynn Packer, Damian Moore, and the investigative journalists at Vice News, none of this would have been out as loud as it has been. If it wasn't for people like Lynn Packer, the pressure would have never been put on. Fox 13 has a way of forgetting that they had announced a lot of things and promoted OUR and Tim Ballard and then never went back and actually corrected the misinformation that they too helped spread constantly. But I guess I really like Adam. That's no shade to him, but they just have a way of forgetting a lot of shit, as Fox News usually does. An exclusive investigation by Fox 13 News in October of 2020, again, 3 years, revealed how the Davis County Attorney's Office opened a criminal fraud investigation into Ballard and OUR. Here's links to all of it. Anti-human trafficking group Operation Underground Railroad under criminal investigation. This was their article from then. We can take a look at it. It has been talked about for years. So all this propaganda pushed out that this all came out because Tim Ballard was going to announce a Senate seat run was never factual. This was 3 years ago. It says a Utah prosecutor is investigating the Operation Underground Railroad, one of the best known organizations combating human trafficking. Davis County Attorney Troy Rawlings confirmed the investigation in a brief statement to Fox 13. We've received complaints, are in the process of reviewing those complaints, Rawlings said. Rawlings' office also denied Fox 13's request for records concerning the inquiry. These records are all part of an ongoing investigation and release would interfere with that investigation, the letter explained. Neither the letter nor Rawlings' statement specified why OUR, as the anti-trafficking organization is often called, is under investigation. However, in recent post to his Instagram account, Rawlings implied a local nonprofit was conducting illegal fundraising efforts by taking credit for arrests made by the Davis County Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Rawlings did not name the charity. Please beware, Rawlings wrote on Instagram, of any individual, entity, or organization who solicits your money and may be claiming credit for work to protect children that is actually done by our task force and or other law enforcement organizations in Utah and around the world. Get the details before parting with your cash. They have had absolutely zero involvement in any of these arrests and successful prosecutions you see on display on the wall of shame in the Davis County Attorney's Office. In another post referencing soliciting for charities, Rawlings suggested some witnesses have been hindered by non-disclosure agreements, often known as an NDA. Who was having everybody sign NDAs? Oh, that would be Tim Ballard and OUR. That post, as written, said, additional witnesses, do not be afraid of their NDA. They cannot successfully sue you for cooperating truthfully with law enforcement. As we saw in the November 27th lawsuit that named Sean Reyes as a defendant, there had been targeting of other advocates in working with human trafficking, sex trafficking victims, that they were taking credit for all sorts of stories that they were not involved in. And when they were being called out as the frauds and liars, in my opinions, that they are, there was a lot of cover-ups that were being done. And when contacted, Sean Reyes, the Attorney General of Utah, somehow seemed to help silence these victims. There was I'm getting ahead of myself because there's just so much to this and it pisses me off. Just because someone claims that they are called of God when asking for your money does not necessarily mean they actually are. Rawlings ended that post with the hashtags fraud, scam, crime. In a later post, Rawlings included copies of Utah's statutes against communications fraud and witness tampering. Yet an attorney for OUR in a statement to Fox 13 denied there is any investigation. Today I spoke with the Davis County attorney and was informed there is no investigation into Operation Underground Railroad. The organization's general counsel, Adam Becker, said in a statement, OUR did not offer further comment. Rawlings responded to the assertion only by saying, for today, it is better not to respond to that. OUR has offices in Cedar City, Utah, and Anaheim, California. The charity makes grants to law enforcement agencies in the United States and abroad so they can pursue human traffickers and people who target children for sex crimes. OUR also says it provides training to law enforcement and to the public to watch for signs of trafficking. The OUR founder, Tim Ballard, is a BYU graduate and former agent with the CIA and U.S. Department of Homeland Security, which was never vetted. He has gone undercover in foreign countries to help arrest trafficking suspects. Has he really? In 2014, Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes joined OUR on a sting in Colombia. According to campaign documents, Reyes lists himself as an OUR advisory board member. There were about 54 girls ranging in age from 10 to 16, and they were expecting to have sex with all these Americans, Reyes recalled in a 2015 interview with Fox 13. On Tuesday, Reyes received an award from the Daughters of the American Revolution. How sweet is that? During his speech, Reyes made multiple references to the great work OUR has accomplished. After the event, Reyes declined to answer Fox 13's questions related to OUR and its fundraising efforts. Shocker. A spokesperson for the Attorney General's office later said he was not aware of a criminal investigation and would not comment even if he was aware. Again, this was from 3 years ago. My times have changed. Ballard and other OUR representatives often refer to the trafficking of people for labor or sex work as slavery, and its staff and volunteers as abolitionists. In 2019, Ballard sat beside President Donald Trump and argued a wall along the Mexican border would help combat sex trafficking. Oh, there's so much to say and probably shouldn't be said by me, but okay. Homeland Security and U.S. Department of Justice data and news releases show most sex trafficking happens through the ports of entry or victims already in the United States are coerced into it. They're selling these kids to you like they're selling a car or computer, Ballard said in 2014, describing one sting operation. At our party, they brought 5 11-year-olds, including one little boy, 11 years old, who were being offered as virgins, and you pay a minute premium for that. That's $1,000. OUR published a video online on October 2nd claiming the answer to the controversial questions we received. The video did not address the criminal investigation. Of course it didn't. Fundraising at OUR has grown exponentially in the recent years. The charity had $6.9 million in revenues in 2016, according to the organization's reports to the IRS. In 2019, OUR revenues jumped to $22.3 million. And just wait, we're going to get into more of it because there's a hell of a lot more than that. Okay, continuing on, this was the first link of their investigation. Again, trying to prove to you that this was not just out of nowhere. Oh, Stumpy, I know who that is too, unfortunately. Yeah, I've been deep in these rabbit holes and the connections and stuff, but that's probably a good one that I'm going to write that down because I know who that is and I know some of the crossover there, but you're probably right. I should probably talk about that. I don't know if people will believe me anymore, Stumpy. People really are pressed over this because, their favorite political allies, these guys are all nothing but a bunch of frauds, in my opinion. And also, if you remember back to when Sean Reyes was going to announce his buddy for a Senate seat run when he wasn't going to, Sean Reyes was initially going to run for Senate, but then he opted to not. My thought process is this a save your face? Go back to your practice, try to squash his name in the lawsuit, settle that out of court so he doesn't have to be deposed, so he doesn't have to uncover all of the stuff that he was a part of? Is he attempting to kind of maneuver himself and get dropped from any of these lawsuits? I have a feeling that might be something going on. The FBI joined the investigation shortly thereafter. Reyes was also a subject of the investigation, but we just heard in 2020 he was saying he wasn't. Utah Attorney General was subject of a criminal investigation along with Tim Ballard and OUR. Let's look at this one. Oh, shyster. This is from 2023. The Fox 13 Investigates team has uncovered new sources and new documents identifying how Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes was one of the subjects of a criminal fraud investigation because of his ties to a local nonprofit. Fox 13 has been reporting on the criminal investigation of Tim Ballard and the nonprofit he funded, Operation Underground Railroad, since October 2020. Several witnesses who interviewed with the FBI and Davis County Attorney's Office say the public has a right to know the extent of Reyes' connections to the case. Although Reyes is almost never shy about his ties with OUR, he has not been forthcoming about his involvement in the criminal case. The investigation, which is at least partially concluded, included questions about how the Utah AG's office handled both OUR money and federal grant money. Do you have any concerns about the fundraising? Asked Fox 13 investigative producer Nate Carlisle in 2020. I don't think he's going to talk about that, responded Rick Cantrell, chief of staff for Reyes. Of course. Documents released by the Utah AG's office illustrated how prosecutors repeatedly asked Utah AG's office to open up their books and to show how the Utah AG's office spent both federal dollars and OUR dollars. Can you provide me with the accounting that you referred to showing how the Davis County Attorney's Office received just Operation Underground Railroad donor money in response to our ICAC Task Force Program grant application? Asked Bureau Chief Craig Webb of the Davis County Attorney's Office in an email on December 22, 2022. In addition, was it just the Davis County Attorney's Office who received all Operation Underground Railroad money? Or did the Davis County ICAC affiliates receive them? And they even included all of the documents. Oh, shyster. Davis County Attorney Troy Rawlings asked again asked the Utah AG's office for accounting records via email on March 28th, 2023. Oh, that would have been before The Sound of Freedom was even released. Both the FBI and Rawlings have declined to comment on the investigation. The Davis County Attorney's Office first opened the case in 2020. Documents from the case show OUR employees reported Ballard for lying to donors. OUR spent years telling people there was no criminal investigation. So did Sean Reyes. Ballard is now permanently separated from OUR after an unrelated internal affairs investigation into his conduct. Several women accused him of sexual misconduct. Reyes spent years declining to acknowledge the investigation, including at a press conference in 2021, in which he only expected to receive questions about an unrelated settlement. Let's watch this.
This clip is from 2021 at a press conference where the Attorney General thought he would only be asked questions about an unrelated settlement.
Sean, you've been, for nearly the past year, been a subject of criminal investigation because of your involvement with Operation Underground Railroad. Why have you not addressed this?
Not aware of any criminal investigations, and not talking about hypothetical investigations here at this time.
We're talking about an investigation with the Davis County Attorney's Office, Sean.
Yep, and I'm unaware of any investigation into myself, which is your question. Unaware of anything. And
as a member of the Attorney General's office that oversees the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, and as a member of Operation Underground Railroad, do you feel that OUR is taking credit inappropriately for ICAC cases?
Yeah, answering questions about, is that a question? I didn't hear anything about the settlement. Settlement? You have a question about the settlement?
You heard my question.
Okay, great. Questions about the settlement, that's what we're here for?
Yeah, he was so transparent all along, hasn't he been? Shocking. Sean, you've been, for nearly the past year, been a subject of criminal investigation because of your involvement with Operation. That's what we just heard. And we heard his deflection about that. And he wants to go back to talking about the settlement. He has a way of trying to spin everything back. Jenica Smith was interviewed as a part of the Davis County's criminal investigation because of her personal interactions with OUR members. She said she did not have knowledge on fundraising efforts. At the time, she said she had no idea investigators documented OUR spending thousands of dollars per month on a psychic who claimed to be able to speak to the Mormon prophet Nephi for information on where to find trafficked children. Reyes now says he was aware of the psychic. He denied knowing about a psychic for years too. But there's all, I mean, they linked all of their previous articles here. I feel like it would protect a lot of people who were donating money to know that, Smith said. That's one of his responsibilities, to look into charities that might be fraudulent. The fact that he's been a part of OUR makes it even worse. I think it's disgraceful that he used his position to promote this charity group that it seems like he should be more investigating than being a part of. Records show Reyes was not allowed to investigate OUR or discuss the case with the Utah AG's office or potential witnesses. He signed conflict of interest paperwork because of his close friendship with Ballard. We're very, very friendly with Reyes. He just spoke at a couple of events recently, said Ballard in an interview with Fox 13 on February 3rd, 2023. Smith said she did not want to go into intricate detail about her conversations with investigators because she did not want to compromise the case. She and her husband, Aaron Smith, said they would be willing to testify at trial if the case gets that far. I could see OUR wasn't this noble operation, Aaron Smith said. There were a lot of things that were very questionable. There's a lot of ladies my age who have jumped on the bandwagon of sharing the OUR mission, and they brought them and they bought into the story because of who these men portray themselves to be, Jenica Smith said. I left the interview optimistic. They seemed fairly confident in wherever they were headed, which they didn't talk about, but I left with hope that some truth would be exposed. In anticipation of the publication of this story, Fox 13 News again spent days repeatedly asking for a comment from the Utah AG's office. After the publication of this story, the Utah AG's office disputed the accuracy of this report. Adam A.G. Reyes was never the subject of a criminal investigation, wrote Richard Pyatt, spokesperson for the Utah AG's office. Come to find out, they were all along, but they continue to lie about it. Shouldn't be shocking to anybody at this point. And hello, anybody that's coming in. I'm a bully. What's it to you? My shoes aren't really anything to do with Utah Attorney General, unless you want me to hit him upside the head with my shoe. I don't know whatever you want. You can picture my feet however you would like to. Representatives of OUR spent years lying about the existence of the investigation, and Ballard walked out of an interview with Fox 13 News when he asked about the status of the case. The case was at least partially concluded in 2023 without the filing of criminal charges. Sound of Freedom, which is based on Ballard and a bunch of lies, in my opinion, and OUR's origin story was released on July 4th, 2023. At around that same time, Ballard permanently separated from OUR at the conclusion of an internal affairs investigation related to sexual misconduct. Plaintiffs in a civil lawsuit said they believe Ballard was fired and eventually rehired so he could resign with his dignity intact. Kind of seems like the resignation or not running for re-election that Reyes is kind of trying to posture and do. A little bit similar to that. Reyes announced he would be running for a fourth term as Utah Attorney General on September 13th, 2023, squashing any rumors that he would run for the U.S. Senate seat vacated by Mitt Romney. Reyes added that he would soon be endorsing a patriot and a warrior for that seat, which everyone knew to be Ballard. Messages sent to Ballard's executive assistant that same day show Reyes attempted to coordinate the announcement with Ballard to build up some anticipation. We saw those text messages in the last lawsuit read-through. 2 days later, on September 15th, 2023, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints released a statement condemning Ballard for morally unacceptable behavior. And that was released to Vice News directly from the church, which was tried to be pushed off by all the Ballard and Reyes and the extreme right-wing propaganda spreading. I wouldn't even call them right-wing. They're so out of sorts. That propaganda pushing machine, as I call them, went into effect, saying it was just because they didn't want poor Timmy boy to run for Senate, and it was just a smear campaign, and none of these allegations were true, and they were only coming to light because he's done so much good, and how dare everybody. Yeah, that whole thing, bullshit. Complete and utter BS. Never was the case. These allegations have been circling for years, as you can tell yourself. The statement, they also tried saying that the PR spokesperson for the church took his own authority and released the statement, and it had nothing to do with the church higher-ups when it came directly from the church higher-ups, trying to cut their ties with Tim Ballard too, because they knew that this was going to blow up. The statement downplayed Tim Ballard's personal and business relationships with the late Apostle M. Russell Ballard. The two are not related despite having the same last name. And here is all of this stuff. Not long after the statement was released, women started filing lawsuits against Ballard, accusing him of sexual assault and using the church to help groom victims. According to a civil complaint, Ballard was, hold on. It just popped. Sorry, pop-up ads. Oh, here's more. Yeah, accusations. Here's the accusations. You can look through this yourself. I'll link it in the description when I'm done. Reyes announced that he would be running. We read that. Where'd it pop from? Oh, right here. According to a civil complaint, Ballard was excommunicated from the church. The lawsuit further stated he lied about his role with the CIA. But they claim Sound of Freedom was based off of OUR and Tim Ballard's origin stories, that he was the CIA operative that saved and rescued all these children. Meanwhile, there has not been a single document released, factual document, that provides proof of any child or woman rescued by OUR. A lot of taking credit for other people's rescues. And according to the documents that have been released, Tim Ballard's time with the CIA is very questionable, to say the least. Here's another clip we're going to play.
What'd you do for CIA?
There's too many NDAs. Probably I shouldn't.
Is that
It was all the cool stuff I ever did was with HSA. Yeah.
just because CIA is just such a secretive?
Yeah, but it wasn't operational stuff. It was analytical. It was an analyst officer position, not like it wasn't like hands-on. Like I said,
It wasn't like hands-on or anything. Wait, but that's the whole premise of the movie, The Sound of Freedom. I mean, The Sound of Fraud. I mean, in my opinion, nothing but fraudulent behavior by all of them. We saw in the lawsuit read through, the last one we did, that they were actually getting prepared for a sequel to The Sound of Freedom that needs to be pulled off of every platform because it's such a despicable film that has done nothing to help actual victims of human trafficking, in my opinion, again.
all the cool stuff is.
So your job was as an analyst?
Yeah, I was an analyst.
So he was an analyst, but the whole premise of the movie was how he rescued these children, and he was this operative. This is so frustrating. I can't even tell you. Like, there is nothing about me that likes this whatsoever, but the way that they are underhanding, smacking these victims over and over again. Meanwhile, we have not even seen the tip of the iceberg start to crumble with how extensive this is going to get. There are so many people that are missing. There are trafficking victims that had no aftercare that have ended up in jail. They did nothing to help anybody but line their own pockets. It's disgusting and despicable. And there is no reason why Sean Reyes should even have the opportunity to sit behind the AG's chair or at his desk until November of 2024. None. And I say that very boldly because he has proven himself time and time again to be nothing but a liar and a fraud, in my opinion. The Utah AG's office released records in September related to Davis County criminal investigation of OUR, showing how investigators believe Ballard spent tens of thousands of donor dollars on a psychic to speak to the dead prophet, Mormon prophet Nephi, for information on where to find trafficked children. In an effort to stick up for his friend, Reyes admitted he knew about the OUR psychic on September 29th, 2023. Oh, past friend, just a couple months ago. According to the Utah AG's office, Reyes did not personally witness the psychic provide operational intel, but psychics on occasion provided helpful information leading law enforcement to useful evidence, including for lost or abducted individuals. Let's watch this one.
According to a civil lawsuit, Ballard took ketamine while talking to Nephi, listening to prophecies about his greatness and future as a United States Senator, President of the United States, and ultimately the Mormon prophet, to usher in the second coming of Jesus Christ.
I'm a temple recommend holding member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They ought to be more insightful to know that that's not how it works. It's simply not how it works.
Well, that was how it worked for them, and that's what they were doing. Fox 13 News obtained police data from 134 agencies in Utah, which indicated Reyes' statements were not exactly true. Shocking. We have not been able to find a single case in Utah in which law enforcement agency spent taxpayer money on a psychic. Reyes was accused of witness tampering on November 2nd, 2023, by plaintiffs in a lawsuit against Ballard and OUR. At the time, Reyes was not named as a defendant. The plaintiff said Reyes turned a blind eye to the tactics that led to their abuse. In a separate lawsuit filed by the same attorneys on November 27th, 2023, Reyes was accused of similar misconduct and named as a defendant, as we read through the entire lawsuit. The lawsuit included a very aggrandizing script written by Reyes for the sequel of The Sound of Freedom. We saw that. Oh, here's another Tim Ballard. Let's watch this one.
Has OUR ever over-exaggerated what it's accomplished?
No. No, I mean, it's funny when we give our numbers, we're actually pretty conservative.
Is OUR still under investigation?
I focus on rescuing kids, and I have a team that would answer those questions. Yeah, unbelievable. I'm out of here. You guys started a little easy. Let's go.
Hi, Timmy boy. Yeah, when he gets asked about his BS, he has a tendency of walking out. The Utah State Legislature approved, here we go, friends, this magic not running for re-election, resignation, whatever the hell is going on. He should be fired, in my opinion. Didn't just come out of nowhere. Here's where it gets interesting. The Utah State Legislature approved an audit into Reyes on November 14th, 2023, due to questions about his relationship with Ballard and OUR. Legislatures say that they still have questions about the lack of time Reyes spends in Utah. Reyes has refused to release copies of his schedule despite a ruling from the Utah State Records Committee indicating his calendar is a public record. At the time, Reyes said he welcomed the audit. Reyes was elected to chair of the Republican Attorney Reyes was elected to chair the Republican Attorney General's Association on November 15th, 2023. Also in November, the Pittsburgh Steelers issued a statement to Fox 13 News indicating that head coach Mike Tomlin was no longer associated with Ballard and OUR. Another one that tried to downplay his relationship with Tim Ballard, even though that he's depicted in the abolitionist photos on the one side of the tracks with Tony Robbins and everybody else, but hey, they weren't that tight, basically. And you can go through and look at all these links yourself. There's a ton of information. We've read through most of them. Rumors of Reyes' resignation began approximately 1 week prior to his December 8th, 2023 announcement. Many inside the Utah AG's office were surprised, especially after Reyes' statements made in September confirming he would be running for a fourth term. Plaintiffs now say they are happy to learn of Reyes' future resignation and that they accept his apology. That's between them, the victims, and whatever they need to do. Mr. Reyes is the first and only person so far to accept responsibility for past misjudgments and for his role in supporting Tim Ballard and the Operation Underground Railroad, said attorney Suzette Rasmussen in a statement. The victims view this as a positive first step. The attorneys declined to comment when asked whether the lawsuit against Reyes will be dropped. In my opinion, that last statement right there, if the lawsuits against Sean Reyes, the last one, the November 27th filing, if it would be dropped, the apologies to the victims, the talk about a criminal investigation and a task force to look into this just didn't come out of anywhere. This wasn't just going to pop up because Sean Reyes had, this epiphany. Maybe he saw the psychic. Maybe he got intel from the psychic and said, your ass is going down with the ship, buddy. So this is his way of jumping off ship before. I don't know. In my opinion, he shouldn't be allowed to serve out the rest of his term. I really hope that the legislators push for him to be removed from office. I really hope the lawsuits against him are not dropped, but I almost wonder if they will be. This is my personal opinion on this, but I have a feeling that they might try to flip Sean to use it against OUR and Tim. There's a lot of times when you see somebody that plays a very heavy role in things of this nature, but in order to move pieces on the board and get a criminal investigation, they almost need somebody like that to turn. That could be part of the maneuvering. This is going to be a long, drawn-out process. This is barely, we haven't even gotten into the court dates or anything. We have just gotten into the filings. We haven't even gotten anywhere beyond that. Tim Ballard is still acting like this is just a smear campaign. Nothing was done wrong. Now you've got the AG coming out claiming innocence, basically, but he believes the victims. Why didn't you believe him 3 years ago? Why didn't you help the victims 3 years ago? Oh, you were conflicted out. But now you're talking about this task force. I'm sorry, I have zero respect for this piece of shit. Flat out. I don't care what political party you're a part of. He could be a Democrat. He could be anything. He's a piece of trash, in my opinion. Utter piece of trash who let people in Utah, especially senior citizens within the same church that he belongs, be defrauded over and over and over again. We're talking millions of dollars funneled into OUR. So these wealthy white men and their best buddies could go fly around to foreign countries and go to strip clubs and on yachts and these 5-star hotels and wine and dine and have prostitutes and, oh, I guess they call them escorts. Tens of thousands of dollars were spent on ketamine infusions with him having a scribe in there dictating all of his visions for being the president of the United States, Tim Ballard. You can't tell me that they didn't know. We've seen the emails. We've seen the back and forth with Glenn Beck and all of them. Sean Reyes is not an innocent party in any of this. Nobody needs to overlook that, oh, because Sean decided to pick the right team. Sean didn't pick the right team because he had a change of heart or Sean Reyes is a good guy. Sean Reyes is just like Tim Ballard. They're besties for a reason. He's saving his own ass, in my opinion. And I would not doubt that we will see him attempt to run for a Senate seat. If he can maneuver his way out of this without charges, without being, he'll attempt to position himself back into a Senate seat. And the shitty part is because he's a high-ranking LDS member and the people in the LDS church are not taught to think for themselves. I hate to say that. I love my Mormon friends, but they are taught to not research for themselves. They are taught to not look into things. They go with the grain. They go with whatever they are told to think and believe. So if Sean Reyes is still a temple recommend holding Mormon church, they will vote for him, whatever he does. They will overlook all of the fraud. They will overlook all of his mishaps, I guess you would say, and just continue on. Does anybody have any thoughts on this besides me? Because my thoughts are very strong. I would love to hear anybody else's opinions, even if you disagree with me. You might just get a whole lot of reasons why your disagreements are non-valid, but go ahead. Please inform me. Tell me what you think. I would love to hear what you guys think about this. For those of you that are in the political sphere, anything of that nature, please let me know what you think. Yeah, Shop, he is absolutely. Hey, Functions. Yeah, Chloe, thank you. That's what I think too. I think that him not running is intentionally hoping that he can, maneuver himself into the good graces of the victims. And again, it's kind of like a chess board. They have to, there should be a criminal investigation into all of them, in my opinion, not just Tim Ballard and OUR. There were so many other people involved in this, but I almost think that they are going to try and position Sean to do something or release information. I don't know if they would have to. I'm not a legal expert in that realm. I don't even know how they can because he was conflicted out before. It's just magical how in a month. Yeah, exactly, Chloe. And that's another thing people don't even realize, like how much the boys club is still in existence in Utah, especially in law enforcement. And he's Utah's top law enforcement officer. This is Utah's top law enforcement officer who just said on tape that he did not believe the victims. Why would the F are we having a man who doesn't even believe victims in office, protecting and serving until he sat down with them? It's not his job to believe them or not. He's supposed to do his job and investigate and get people in charge of investigating to come forward. That's what I think too. I think them knocking Sean out is a church. I guarantee there's been a lot of discussions and stake buildings and the offices of the Mormon church with some of these guys. And there is a lot of people that are going to get brought down. Oh, shop 100%, and especially in Utah politics. So in the political sphere in Utah, if you are LDS, a Temple Recommend LDS member, and a high-ranking Temple Recommend LDS member, you are given unchecked authority. Damian, go Tracy Schuler, Damian Moore. I've been having a hard time vetting. He released the names on his Twitter. You can go look at Damian Moore. Also, American Crime Journal is his website. He talked about 2 of them. I've been trying to vet what countries the volunteers were murdered in and the situation around their murders. It's really hard to go down that rabbit hole, but Damian Moore talked about it on his Twitter. Hey, Bree. Yep, he absolutely is. Oh, yeah. Well, in shop too. One of the big things that people forget is Sean Reyes was only put into office because the previous attorney general in Utah there was corruption and fraud around him too. Now, what about Sean Reyes handing out fake awards to these Haitian governmental officials that were removed from office for fraud? We're just going to overlook all that stuff that he's done while he's in office? I don't know. I think the Democratic Party, again, not to be political, but it is, I really hope. But in Utah, it doesn't matter. If they're LDS, yes, Stumpy's not lying. Utah Attorney General, the office of the Utah politics is so fraudulent. I hate to say that. They have tried to improve things over the years, and it is just nothing but conspiracy and fraud, in my opinion, constantly. There has been so much. If you look into the previous Attorney General that Sean Reyes took over for, oh my God, what a mess. And they just continue to act like there's no big deal. Everything's just fine. Oh, shop, we're not even done yet. Just wait. There's so much stuff I can't talk about that I know from firsthand accounts of people that are involved in this stuff. Or, oh, Senator Mike Lee, fuck. Oh. God, there's so much I wish I could say. You think Sean Reyes is bad. Mike Lee, in my opinion, is one of the worst of the worst. Don't forget, Mike Lee is actually mentioned in the emails between Glenn Beck and Tim Ballard. Mike Lee went into high gear with Sean Reyes and helped this release after the Vice News article broke. Oh, and for those of you that don't know, Sean Reyes was also part of the elected officials that were trying to help Trump say that there was election fraud. And he actually took part, was there present, but he had a lot to say about the insurrection and the January 6th stuff too. It was all good. It was all good, even though people lost their lives. And, law enforcement officers he's a law enforcement officer, were harmed and targeted and all of that stuff. But nobody wants to talk about that shit. That's too much for everybody to handle because, Lord bless it, we might actually have to talk about some of the truth. This shit pisses me off. Oh, shop. Mm. Oh, you guys, Mike Lee is, oh, I don't have enough time in the universe to talk about how much Utah politics are so corrupt. It is so corrupt, in my opinion, from top to bottom. They were hiring attorneys to attempt to silence Troy Rawlings. They are, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Arizona just started handing out indictments to elected officials that were involved in helping push off a bunch of BS. Yeah. The one thing I will say about Arizona is our attorney general is a female, and she just handed out 60 indictments over Medicaid fraud that is happening. They seized $95 million in assets. Yeah. There's so much here. We could really unravel like so much stuff with Utah. Utah is one of the most corrupt states I have ever seen in my 40 years. That is 100% the truth. And the church plays such a hefty role in all of that stuff. Yeah, AMAC, that's really scary though, because they're targeting tribal members. I posted it on my community tab. That's going to be a big, huge thing. There's 120 people missing. What they were doing was there's a loophole in the Medicaid system that there was no third-party review. So people were able to bill for these sober living houses and these treatment facilities. So they were bringing in tribal members from multiple different states, and they were sending them to these sober living houses, trying to get them therapy, treatment, help sober living houses. Well, what was happening is that they were bringing them to these houses. People went missing. Like I said, over 120 people are missing. Some ended up dead. They have videos of drinking in these sober living houses. One of the neighborhoods in Mesa, they found people passed out. The neighbors were taking videos. People just everywhere because there's no oversight. So there was a loophole. So these providers could get paid. That's why they seized 95 million in assets already. And they've only done 60 indictments so far. And she said there's more to come. It's a big deal, but we have 120 missing, and Arizona isn't far off from Utah. Like there's a little bit better certain things here, but Utah and Arizona are like this, especially with the LDS church. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Utah's a beautiful state too. It is a gorgeous state. And there are some of the best people there. Not all Mormons are corrupt. Not all Mormons think that this stuff is okay. But when it comes to politics in Utah, it's an utter disappointment. I mean, it's an utter disappointment on Capitol Hill too. I'm not going to even lie about that. But it is really bad. Mike Lee and Sean Reyes aren't far off, in my opinion, from, George Santos. What are you going to say? Like these guys, there's people that get into politicians, Revival and I actually talked about this, that want to do good. I think a lot of people that get into politics want to do good. They want to make a change, and they end up over time having to sacrifice some of their thoughts or feelings or beliefs to try to push their, why they got in. It's like a nonstop chess match. But with people like, again, this is my opinion, but Sean Reyes, he had a power. He's one of those power hungry, greedy personalities that, he was going to be the best of this. He told these warrior stories of his father, who was an MLM pusher of colloidal silver. He talks about this warrior spirit. Like he had little man syndrome, in my opinion, and always thought he was going to be something bigger than he was. And he learned how to talk and manipulate people. That is, again, I don't even know how to say this without disrespecting my Mormon followers, because I do have quite a few Mormon followers, but soliciting money and fundraising is almost taught within certain circles. And this is especially true in Utah, of how to fundraise. They do these. In fact, one of the missionaries that we were really close with wanted to become a party planner for these political endeavors and these 501(c)s in Utah, because there's so much money in that. And they solicit so many donations, and the people who do their party planning and push these narratives, they're like taught how to do this. There's something in the teachings that just, it's really scary, truthfully. Yeah. Right. That was one of my favorites. Woodrake, yes. Oh, New Mexico is really pretty. It's just, yeah. That's true. Well, God, don't get me started on what's going on in Texas either. I'm sorry. I should probably stay off this topic, because I could really piss a bunch of people off with my rants and raves about all this stuff. But when the Texas government has a say in your uterus, I don't know. And you have to go to another state for a life-saving procedure, we got issues. Sorry, not sorry. Is what it is. Texas is scary. It's about as scary as Utah. Yeah, for sure. Any other questions about this whole thing? This is going to be an evolving mess, but I have a feeling we're going to watch a lawsuit. I really hope not, because that's the advocate that was treated so wrongly, and she was threatened and attempted to be silenced and all of this stuff for years. I know it's going to be a lot of maneuvering, and people are going to be posturing to try and do a lot of stuff. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Man, that stuff just irks me. That is, God. I could really get up here and I would love to have a debate with stupid Bullhorn Betty over politics. Man, I would love that. Because, her political sphere of everything she talks about and how she's such an advocate for good. Are you really? You're an advocate for good, but yet a woman who needs a life-saving medical procedure to potentially I don't know. There's not a lot of, do any of you watch that Timcast guy? Or know who I'm talking about? Tim Pool. There ain't nobody that I'd like to smack as hard as that little freaking little hand mofo. Man, his little hands and his beanie. You want to see me turn bright red and pissed off and throw something? Make me listen to that guy. That guy is the most ignorant, creepy, slimy, uneducated, disconnected travesty that I have ever seen. And I'm not just talking about his political beliefs, but he just spews blatant shit. They were defending George Santos, the guy who lied on everything. Oh, I can't stand his little beanie Woodrake. Oh my gosh. His little beanie and his little tiny hands. I can't even, my hands are bigger than his. Yeah, Bree, they really are. Yeah, yes. For those of you that don't know, go research Texas and what's going on there. Oh, that guy is slime by all slime balls. Uneducated fools. I tell you what, they sit up there and they get this. They have a huge following of those crazy QAnon. Like they have the George Santos followers. They have the Sean Reyes and the Tim Ballard Sims. Oh my God. His interview with Tim Ballard was so disgusting. We should go over that sometime, but I don't even know if I can keep it together long enough. I might need a muzzle for that. I just could not believe it. I was like, they've got to be joking right now that this guy deserves due process. This guy who lied and manipulated it and whole deserves due process. That's what he got. But it's not significant for them because he was one of the ones that was going to do good for them. Again, go look at Project 2025. If you haven't and you're in the political sphere and you understand what's going on and what they're attempting to do, the pamphlets, just do some research, people. This shit's getting scary. And it's not a joke. But hopefully Sean Reyes will be getting booted. There is just nothing in me. That's almost a full year for him to do more damage. Right? Yeah. Yeah, his man. And I'm not before you all weirdos start, I think we should have an age cap. I'm not a Biden supporter either. I don't like anybody in politics, really. I'm an equal opportunity hater across the board. The people that I want to run for office can't even run, unfortunately. So there's that. But it's not because they're felons. Oh, wait, there is a felon running for office. What the fuck do I know anymore? I mean, anything should happen, right? Throw it all out there. Oh, y'all. We should dive into Mike Lee. I think people are really unaware of how corrupt Mike Lee is, in my opinion. Mike Lee, Sean Reyes, there's a few more in Utah politics too that people don't even realize. Yes. Oh my gosh, Revival. That is so true too. Yeah. If I have one suggestion though for Sean, please let me write your rap. I'll include bye 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 in it. And we will definitely get some Smooth Criminal in there. Heal the world, make it a better place. I'm still on the Michael Jackson kick from last night from Rabbit's Live. If you want a good laugh, go watch Rabbit's Live from last night in the comment section. Oh my God, I had the giggles so bad because they had me cracking up. This shit, Joe. It's going to get way worse, y'all. Just buckle up. This Utah stuff is we're probably going to be talking about this for a couple of years. And I look back to when I first started covering the Sound of Freedom. I lost so many subs because of that. And I sat here and said, bye. I don't fuck with people like that. Bye. You ain't going to change my standing. You ain't going to tell me that I'm wrong. When I kept saying, just wait, it's going to get worse. Shit's going to come down the pike. You guys are going to learn. And people were like, I'm so thankful because a lot of you sat back and went, wait a second, maybe there is something more here to look into. And it did help my case because BHB was promoting it. But the people that are scary are these organizations. And unfortunately, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch. Next thing we know, Tyler Feller is going to run for office. Nothing will surprise me anymore. Can you imagine little Feller being in office? Donate to the Church of Tyler Feller. We're going to take communion and we're going to pray for blessings. Oh, hey, Lurker. Woodrake, that Feller is going to run for office. Oh my God. People were so pissed though when I started talking about this, and I was like, I could care less. I could genuinely care less. You guys go talk about the same things over and over and over and over and over all day long that mean nothing in the big picture of things. And I mean that wholeheartedly. BHP, I'm not talking about her. She is a danger. However, okay, I'm going to say this because it's been weighing on me, and I have to say this. I am going to probably do a little coverage on BHB so I can highlight this, but the BHB anti-community that's forming is becoming just as bad and problematic as the anti-KJ community, in my opinion. They don't call themselves an anti-BHB community, but people are like, and I've heard multiple creators say that if BHB was deplatformed, in fact, she was laughing about it and saying if she could just take her channel down, there would be a lot of channels that would never have anything. She's right. There is a lot of channels that would not have anything to do. And I'm not talking about Burnt Toast. Burnt Toast is self-sufficient and does great on whatever she touches. Burnt Toast is left out of this equation. But there are many other channels that would not have followings if it wasn't for the hate bonding over BHB. And what we are starting to see, at least what I am starting to see, and I think some others of you are starting to see it too, that we are getting off of the fact basis of what BHB does that is problematic. And now we are doing every little petty fucking drama thing. We're trying to call organizations that she may or may not be donating to for Christmas to help a child in need. But we are going real life and calling these organizations because they think it's a fraud. Thank you, Lurker. Thank you so much. I appreciate I know who you guys are that have my back, and I've never questioned that. You guys, I love my group. I have always said that I have some of the best people that hear me out, hear my heart, and you guys are always solid. And to me, this will never be, and I came on YouTube with no subs. I have never been about the clicks and the views and the numbers. I am more incredibly, it's important to me. Like you'll never see me checking my algorithm or my numbers or anything like that, or trying to get better in the algorithm. I'm here to provide factual content about things that matter in society or matter to me, that I'm passionate about, the problems that people are being exploited, the train wrecks. I will always stick in this little wheelhouse and branch out from here. But what I'm seeing with the BHB stuff, and it's easy to get caught up in that too. I did that with Molly. Like it's easy to become very petty about certain things because they're just so problematic and they drive you so nuts. But what we're seeing is people now are doing extremely BHB things. They're doing BHB things. They're doing the same shit that they bitch about BHB doing to try and prove a point. Do you really think that she, being in an active lawsuit, being countersued, her, again, this money isn't coming from her, it's coming from her subs. I find that to be disgusting. Let her do something good. She's a braggadocious. Most people don't have to do that. It is what it is. That's her. But if she's going to help a child on Christmas, leave her be. So many people are becoming the exact same thing that they bitch about her being. And a lot of these channels, I can't stomach them. I can't watch them. I can't nothing. And when you have Revival, tell me to shut the fuck up, please. When you have a man sitting on a panel threatening women, what the fuck are you doing any better? I'm sorry. Sorry. It is what it is. You want them to do better, then be better. Stop being just like her. I can't watch this shit. If it doesn't come from Burnt Toast, and if I actually have had to leave lives lately, I have had to leave lives of people that I like because they're falling in that same wheelhouse and doing the petty shit. when they continue to say that she has all these charges, she was charged. She was not convicted. But people run with that shit all day long too. What is that making you look like? You're becoming the very things that you preach against being. You are BHB in the future. And then you sit here and see some of them push off the same fucking propaganda that BHB pushes off. What? Ugh. Maybe I needed to get this off my chest. Functions 100%, and it continues to happen. But people aren't fact checking themselves. They're not vetting their information. They're running with shit because it's I have never seen. And I'm going to tell you flat out, if any of these people start doing content that actually matters, that isn't just hate bonding over Betty. And I'm not talking about Burnt Toast. Burnt Toast isn't in a wheelhouse on her own. Burnt Toast will do Burnt Toast things if Betty was gone. Burnt Toast is going to be fine. She is not one of the channels I'm talking about because she's one of the very few that I do respect that do BHB solid content. Well, she doesn't do BHB solid either. She does all sorts of other stuff. But she sticks to the facts. And she sticks to, and we all have our moments of petty time. Hell yeah, AMAC, do that. Yeah, I can't stand BHB. I cannot stand her. But the whiny bullshit is getting too much. I'm a victim of BHB. You're not a victim of BHB. Stop taking the seat of the actual people she's actually victimizing. The victims of the crime cases that she's victimizing. When you come into this arena and you poke people like BHB, you are looking for a reaction. And when you get that fucking reaction, don't cry and whine about it. I cried and whined about it for a fucking minute and laughed my ass off. Because when you step up to the plate, you lose that, because here we are trying to advocate for the victims and the cases that she hurts. But when content creators are becoming more important than the victims that she's victimizing in these cases, what the fuck's the point? Yeah, never been any receipts, Bree. There has never been any receipts. I've heard that too, but nobody's ever been able to show receipts that everything was returned and cash was handed to BHB. Again, the money's not even coming from Betty. The money is coming from her subs. And until her subs have a problem with it and don't see their money going, we're looking just as foolish. Let them do something good for that one child if that's what she's going to do. I don't know, y'all. It's becoming too much. And she does dangerous things, like gives out dangerous information about domestic violence situations. She gives out dangerous information on true crime cases, false information. What the fuck? All day, all fucking day long, from the time I wake up in the morning till the time I go to bed at night. And I'm not even a late watcher. Hey, Kenya, you cannot find a live stream that doesn't feature BHB all day long. And there will be the same 300 to 400 viewers in those live streams that follow everything Betty does. You guys are becoming a problem. Hate bonding all day. What are you doing to stop her? Going and talking shit in chats. How is that helping the situation? It goes back to, are you helping or are you hurting? Because a lot of you are hurting, because a lot of you subs do as much dirty shit as BHB does. And you act like because you hate her, you're on the right side. No, you're just like her. You just mask yourself in a different way. Why do you think BHB never continued to engage it with me? First of all, because I don't do stupid fucking content on her all day long. Secondly, because I was already doxxed and have nothing to hide. When she has something over your head, she's going to hold it over your head and continue to play. But then when we, as the content creators, take the front seat, over the victims of the crime cases that she's re-victimizing and the people like that. Oh God, don't get me started. Revival, shut me down. Because I'm going to say a bunch of shit. We're becoming just like her, though. There's a whole freaking hate box, and everybody's doing it because it's the easy numbers. She's low-hanging fruit. Any of you that don't even have a channel, fire up a live about Betty. You'll have 300 people in there. Sorry, I'm going to say it. It is what it is. Functions, that's amazing. You know what? When I used to post my donations that I would do at the 21st when we get YouTube checks, I used to post them in my members only so they would know that I was donating. I got so much backlash for that. Oh, you're just bragging about what you're doing. Oh, so I stopped posting it. Then it goes to, oh, you're not doing anything for anybody else. You can't win for losing out here. But there's so many people on here that you won't see me in their chats. I don't fuck with a lot of people in this community. And there's a reason for it. I stick to myself. I'm a lone wolf. She really doesn't really listen to me. This shit's just frustrating to me. It is really frustrating to me because she does so much dangerous things, in my opinion, like the DV information that she gave out. That's dangerous. Dangerous shit. The things that she does to the victims, dangerous. You know what? If she grifts money, you know how many other people are doing that? You know, I'm one of the few creators that I've actually seen that hasn't posted a Christmas wish list, that hasn't talked about my kids not having Christmas, that hasn't emotionally manipulated you guys to shut up, Becky. Somebody take my button away. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Bree. Like, harassing actual victims. I'm sorry. You content creators aren't victims. Neither was I. It gets into that realm when you deal with people. Any of you bitching about BHB threatening you, come deal with Vada. Come deal with Vada and the crazy death threats and the dark web threats and the nonstop lies about very serious shit. Come deal with that. And I'm not talking about Queen Bee either. That's a whole lawsuit situation that she put Queen Bee in, and she should never have to deal with that. And that's a whole other side piece too. I'm not talking about that. That's some bullshit. Bullshit. And you know what, Revival? We're fucking grown-ass adults. And they go from wish list to wish list, and then they put their own wish list up. But they have lower price items, so they're okay. I've never pocket watched anybody. Get that coin. Do whatever you do. You manipulate your subs, cool. I see you for what you are. I probably need a muzzle today. Oh, Donna, I love difficult research. I got to talk to her too, because the trial's coming up in April and I'm local to that. So I need to connect with her because Donna, I really like her. She's in a good wheelhouse too. But you know what I'm really noticing too, and some of you are my cult followers, the people who follow Scientology stuff and my ex-LDS members and stuff too, you'll understand this some. But when the cults, like the ex-Mormons and the ex-Scientologists, that becomes like almost a cult offshoot. Donna, me too. And I would really love to talk to her about that because I could I'll have to see what I can do, but I bet I could be present for that, for some of the trial and get some footage for her. So, and I know that would be really important for her because she is family. So I don't know how to go about it yet, but I need to thank you for reminding me. But what I'm seeing with the cult followings too is the ex-Mos, never-Mos, ex-Scientologists, like these communities form and they become so toxic within themselves. So you have ex-Mormons that have been through very similar things, like ex-LDS members, and it almost becomes a pissing match of who is the better ex-Mormon or who had more trauma as a Mormon. Same with the Scientology, like there's levels to it. And there are certain ones that become the face of it, but within those communities, it becomes very, very cult-like, and a lot of the same happenings, especially like in Scientology, they use the fair game tactics on the people who have left. Like those same tactics get used time and time again. And it's just, you know what, Bree, though, that's totally fine. I have a wish list. I had the wish list when I moved to Arizona. Guess who bought? Revival bought me deodorant. Me and the girls deodorant, so we still don't smell. But all of the stuff that was bought off of there, if it wasn't Revival, it was me. I bought all of my girls' stuff. And I didn't continue to advertise it, and I didn't do. Yeah, Donna. Hey, Scorpio. You know, and here's the thing with the Christmas wish list. Christmas is for kids. Like, but even if you have kids and you can't, like, we sit here and talk about being the best version, and it's not about gifts, and it's, you know, there's a reason for the season. And I get so much shit because people think I'm a non-believer. So people are like, you don't even believe in Christmas. You don't, first of all, know what I believe in. Secondly, even if you can't, like, I try to encourage people that even if you'll never see me post on YouTube, like my tree full of presents, you're never going to see me post because there's not a single one. Guess what? I haven't done. Hey, difficult. It's so gross, difficult. But because that's not what it's about. I just try to get through every day, a new challenge every day. There's something new. And we're trying to teach our kids and other people that it's not a competition to keep up with the Joneses. It's not a competition to try to one-up each other, but it becomes that. And then you see these people posting wish lists with all this frivolous shit and perfume and all of these non-essential items, right? There are so many people in my comment section, so many people in every one of our comment sections that can barely get by with the necessities in their daily lives. But we're out here worrying about $150, $300, $700. And if you can afford to do it, do it. I'm not shaming you. But it's not a competition, and it doesn't make you a good parent if you can put fucking presents under your goddamn tree. If you think that being a parent is a one time a year and you drop a bunch of money on Christmas presents and that's going to... Okay, I'm getting off my soapbox because I will cuss a bunch of fucking people out. I have been so disgusted in this. I try not to say this community because I overlap into so many different communities, but I am so sick of the fucking cancer competition too. Let me tell you, I am so disgusted with so many humans right now. After losing my grandfather to cancer, Kyle's brother to cancer, I can't even believe that this is happening around the holidays. I can't watch it. I'll pop in to say hello. If that's the conversation, I pop right the fuck out. Want nothing to do with it. The BHB anti-community, I'm going to start calling you the anti-caters, the anti-BHBers, because you're acting just like her. And there's a bunch of you. And one of these days, I probably will name names because I don't give a fuck. I'm not here to make buddies with the people that are doing the exact same shit. You are going to be the next BHB. How do you think she got to this platform? How do you think she gets away with this shit? You're doing the exact same shit. AMAC, keep doing you and stick to what you know. Stick to what you know. Don't, even if your numbers drop extremely low, do content that is you're passionate about, because there's longevity in doing what you're passionate about. And I'm telling you that. My numbers drop when I do the cult stuff, but if I do drama, if I do BHB subs, watch them skyrocket. Stick to what you know and be true to yourself and you'll be okay. There's so many of these people that aren't. They just got to follow. And there's this competition of who's the best Betty call-out channel lately too, and it's gross. It is gross. There's enough out here for everybody to do. It's just gross. Hey, T. Oh my God. Yeah. No. You know what? No shame in that. Difficult. We talked about that the other day. We talked about how I will never sit here and act like I am this put together. Fuck my car. I was just broke down in traffic headed to my heart doctor's office. I didn't even make it to my heart doctor's office. My fuel pump something on my car, not Kyle's, went out. Like, we all have so many struggles that we're just trying to get through life. My dog had a massive stroke this last week. I had my father-in-law's in the ICU. There's so much going on in everybody's lives. I am no different than anybody I am sitting in front of. None of you are any different. And these communities become so toxic so fast because people are miserable, and misery loves company is what I'm understanding. Hey, Gina. Oh, Bree, you're coming on with me. We got to do that as soon as my life calms down and I'm consistent. You're coming on with me. We're going to talk about the Catholic Church. I'm going to make Bree come on and talk about the Catholic Church. And I have another guest that I want to bring on too and talk about her and honor her son too. I want to do that. Yeah. Scorpio, say it louder. Every single person I know on this app is fighting battles that nobody knows about, or they're silent about it. And this back and forth, the constant pissing match that continues to happen is, I have so many subs that are going through horrific illnesses, that have been diagnosed with stuff, loved ones, their caretakers, their children, losing people. I get so many messages about shit like that. And then I get messages, did you see so-and-so said this? And some of them we laugh about, but most of the time I'm like, I could give two shits less. Could give two shits less. Oh my gosh, Lurker. That's always been something that's really hard for me, is all the senior citizens that barely have anybody, or cannot even afford dinner, or they are alone, or they have dementia, or the seniors, the babies in the NICU, the kids in the foster care systems. That's where my heart is all the time. My girls are good. Like, I've been asked, and just so you guys know, I've been asked numerous times, probably by 15 different people, to do a wish list for my girls. I refuse to do it. If you want to do anything for my family, send us grocery gift cards, gas gift cards. I don't need to give you information to do that. You have my email address. You can do them, whatever. I'm never going to sit here and ask for frivolous things that we don't need. You want to help your content creators out? Send them grocery, gas, things like that. For most of us, that's difficult. Research would probably say the same thing. Like, that shit I don't know. When I think of necessities, yes, Bree. We went without heat, lights. Functions. Lurker, it's so good to see you. I hope, please give your mama a hug. Hey, Pete. I'm sore. My ass is sore. I would be lying to you if I said it wasn't. It's definitely sore. I should have included, though, that when I said it was an 8 out of 10, it only lasts for about 15 minutes. That pain, it was pretty significant, but I'm feeling a little bit better. My father-in-law will be in the ICU again tonight. They are draining fluids still off of, they're trying to get improvement with the hydrocephalus. We don't know what's going to happen. So what they're doing is pulling spinal fluid off to try and get the hydrocephalus to go down some, the water on the brain. And if they can pull enough off, they haven't seen any major improvements to his condition at this point in time, but they'll continue to pull off. And if they see improvement, then they will know that a shunt will be beneficial to him and he'll end up with a shunt. If it's not beneficial doing the pull off over the time that they're doing it, then he won't do a shunt, and then I don't know where we're headed from there. So my mother-in-law is up there with him right now. It was a really, really stressful day yesterday for him and everybody else. But, and by the way, another thing I'm going to get on my soapbox about is if you do not have, well, if you're like me and Kyle and have like an ultimate nightmare with vehicles and fuel pumps, make sure you have roadside assistance. It comes in really handy. You guys, if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. I'm telling you. Oh, the doggy, she went out and pooed today. She's right there. Isabella. She's taking a nap. Isabella, are you awake? Hey. She went out and pottied. She's doing so much better, y'all. She's doing so much better. Thank you. Yeah, he'll be my father-in-law. That's the hard thing is like, oh, one more thing. I'm going to tell you guys this before I'm going to get off here because I have to reset for another live. I'm going to do another live. By the way, if you're interested in the soft white underbelly and exploitation of a 13-year-old, you might want to buckle up because this next one is going to be a little hard hitting too. I just decided to rail out everything that I don't like today. You know what? Difficult. That's one thing good about Kyle too. Kyle can work on vehicles. He already told me what it was. I have to look at I had to text it to Revival to tell her what was wrong with it because I'm like, I'm not going to even remember. It's called a fuel pump control module that went out in mine. Yeah. Roadside assistance is major. Where was I going with this? Oh, by the way, everybody's insurance resets at the beginning of the year. So if you have a bunch of stuff that you need to get done, hurry up and get it done because you only have 2 weeks left. But here's how I started off my new year. I have a mammogram on January 2nd. I have a colonoscopy on January 8th. I have another injection on January 15th. What the hell is wrong with me? Who does these things to themselves? I'm just trying to knock it all out. I did my skin check, my yearly skin check already. That was last week. But who does that? Yes, it always does. Difficult, it always does. But who would do that to themselves besides me? I didn't even realize when I was scheduling it until me and Kenzie were going through our calendar to figure out who had to go which way. No, I have to have full colonoscopy. I have to have an endoscopy and a colonoscopy because I have precancerous polyps. So they won't let me just poop in a bag, unfortunately, anymore. I've never been able to actually, but who would do that to themselves? Like, what am I doing? What? Absolutely, Donna. Get that out of the way. That's why I'm like, I was thinking about insurance deductibles. Thankfully, I have good stuff with that. But I'm like, who the hell does that to themselves? Like, why am I torturing myself? Oh, well. Difficult, right? Yeah. Probe me. Just get all the probing done. Yes. Yep. It will be the probing into the Utah politicians and the probing into every orifice I have. Functions, it just becomes laughable. You just have to laugh about this shit though, because it's like, what is going on? Thank you, T. T, you are so loved. Thank you so much. Welcome to the shit show for those of you guys that got memberships. All right, y'all. I'm going to get off here. I'm going to run downstairs right quick, fill my cup. And then I will be back, and we are going to talk about Mark Leda. We are actually going to check in on Nova's mother. I know a lot of people, and I'm going to talk about that too. Rabbit has done some pretty good stories on this, and she actually brought it to most people's attention. So I'm going to talk a little bit about her stuff, but then we're going to do an update because the 13-year-old that has been exploited, in my opinion, what is exploitation? Yeah, I'm going to play you guys some videos from the mom's own mouth. So it's a little bit hard to hear. It's a little bit intense, But we will be back in just a few for that. Thank you guys for letting me bitch about everything today. These Utah politicians just put me in a whole other level. Like, you just don't, I don't have time to play the fake, like, nicey nice games. I really don't. These things are important. These people are hurting so many people. We have had so much corruption in the Utah politicians. How many kids are going to have to die in Utah before people realize that this is extremely dangerous? These extreme belief systems are extremely dangerous. Like, how many more kids, a part of these offshoot LDS groups, are going to have to die? It is so gross. And for those of you becoming a part of the anti-BHB community, we're watching. Don't worry. You'll be the next BHB. You want to target everything BHB does. Turnabout's fair play. So when all of us continue to watch what you're doing to her, meanwhile doing the same things to her, like going real life on her, you're kind of highlighting that you're just like her. Don't be shocked when you're not next up on the chopping block. I mean, goes around, comes around. And I'm not taking up for her. Not taking up for her, but reality is reality. Let them donate to a child in need for Christmas and stop the bullshit. No, difficult. You're fucking right, though. It is. Oh, Bree, just wait till you see what I have to. I'm going to show you guys. Difficult. I'm going to connect with you. I have to do that. I keep saying that, but my life has just been a train wreck. But I need to connect with you because I'm right here during the Lori Vallow trial. So I need to connect with you and do that. Okay, you guys, I'll be right back in like 10 minutes on a new subject and probably the same bad attitude. Love y'all. Thanks again, T. Welcome to the shit show.